Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cavanaugh's Corner. Today in the show, I am glad to finally be bringing you a review that I've been wanting to do for a little bit. I apologize for not having a video up for a little bit, but I did go on vacation. Just got back not too long ago, so I actually watched these movies before I went on vacation, but did not get a chance to review them until now. So I just want to say thank you for bearing with me, and again, a break is good every now and then, so just glad that I was able to take a little break and come back to you guys here. But the review, as you guys have seen in the title probably already, is for the all-new Back to the Future Trilogy. This is the all-new 4K Ultimate Trilogy box set here. This has all three films in 4K. It also has the Blu-ray copies and a bonus disc as well with even more special features. And it actually comes in this little book here. I did not get the steel books just because they were kind of hard to come by, but I was glad to pick this up pretty much right around the time when they came out, and I wanted to watch every one of them so I could bring you this review here. Normally, what I do in these reviews is I review each film, but these movies are so interconnected, and honestly, my opinion of the discs for all three of the 4K discs here in the set are so close that I'm really going to do just one review, maybe a little longer than normal. But I wanted to review all of them today for you so you guys know about this set. Since you really can't buy the movies separately anyway, this is kind of the only way you can get all three of these in 4K right now. And again, if you can see, it's a little book here. This is the opening page. You have to see the first film, the 4K disc on one side, the Blu-ray on the other. This is part 2. You can see the same thing in part 3. And then the bonus disc over here, which is just a standard Blu-ray with a bunch of special features. Some new ones, actually, that weren't included in the last box set that came out. Now, this set is, in terms of the Blu-rays, pretty much all the special features that were on the older Blu-rays are on here. The only thing that's really missing is if you bought the Ultimate Collection, I can't remember I think it was called the Complete Adventures set, that came out a few years back, that actually had like DVDs of the Back to the Future cartoons. The cartoons are not included in this set here. So basically, if you're going to be looking for that cartoon series, you're going to want to stick with that older set. To me, the cartoons, even though I have that set as well, I watched quite a few of them. The series of cartoons didn't really do much for me. I'm sure that they have their fans out there. Pretty much the closest thing we're ever going to get to like a sequel to these movies, so it is kind of an interesting anecdote. But for me, it's all about the movies themselves. And my review today is going to be about the new 4K discs, how the picture quality is, and how the audio quality is on all three. And we'll go through one by one. But I may actually, combine my opinions of a few of them during the review, so here we go. So the first film, obviously, the original Back to the Future, this is a monumental film. This is, the first film in the series is one of my favorite films of all time. It really is a great, great movie. It's damn near perfect, honestly. It's just everything about it. It's so detailed-oriented, and I really love the way that they shot this film. And the 4K disc of the first film is really stunning. The picture quality on this first film is fantastic. It's hands down the best this movie has ever looked. The one thing I do have to say is these discs all do have Dolby Vision, has HDR10 and HDR10 Plus as well, which is pretty wild that it has all of those in there. And I think the overall opinion that I have of this film is that it looks really, really great. There are no more washed out colors like the older Blu-rays. This movie looks vibrant. It looks very, very, very true to life. The color palette of this movie is sometimes very bright, sometimes very dark, especially the night scenes. The famous scene at the beginning where they introduce the DeLorean. That scene just looks incredible now. It no longer looks like you're viewing the scene that was shot at like dusk. It doesn't look like it's very bright at all anymore. It really does look extremely dark, like it was shot in the middle of the night, because it was, really. And the overall movie, all throughout, especially very particular night scenes and some scenes that are interiors, the movie does have it's about like 2 shades darker than all the previous releases, and this may be a little jarring at first, but that's the high dynamic range really working its magic on this disc. And the same goes for the other 2 films as well. Even though Part 3 doesn't have nearly as many nighttime scenes, these movies really do shine on this 4K format, mainly because the colors jump out at you a lot more. The just overall look of the film, it looks very, very crisp and clear. The first film in particular does have a pretty good grain structure on screen. And again, you know, it was shot on film. I mean, we're talking 1985 here. And that grain structure really leads to, you know, a very filmic look. And I know there are people out there that don't like that grain. Again, this movie was shot on film. And I have to emphasize, if you remove that grain, if you use that heavy, heavy digital noise reduction, like some 4K Blu-rays have in the past, sometimes the results, well, I should say 99% of the time, the results are really bad. And I'm glad Universal has kind of kept up with this and not done that with any of these films. And if they have done that, it's minimal to the point where I can't tell. The movie looks fantastic. Again, even with the darker, you know, shades in most of the movie, it really does even out. And if you have a TV or a projector or anything that can handle that really, you know, that really great, you know, HDR content, then this movie's going to look fantastic. Same goes for the second film. The second film in the series came out, I want to say, about 4 years later in 1989. And was shot concurrently with the third film. And I have to say, the second film actually looks better, which is crazy to say. The second film, you know, because of that intro with the future and everything, the future, which is actually now the past, which is really crazy, but that whole scene in the future is way more vibrant, way more colorful than it was before. That HDR really kicks into overdrive in that second film, where the first film kind of has a very natural palette, very much reminding me of the Jaws 4K Blu-ray, where they didn't really kick the HDR into, you know, this ridiculous territory where everything is kind of, you know, blown out and looks saturated. The second film is very vibrant at times, and also, yet again, just like the first film, some scenes look, you know, just a couple shades darker. But overall, I think the movie looked fantastic. The second film is great looking. Again, the HDR does wonders, especially for the brights that are in the film. The big thing being a lot of the lights that are seen coming out of the DeLorean, the fire trails you see coming from the DeLorean in the first film, the second film. It looks amazing. It really does look amazing. Some of the special effects have not aged so great, and they really do kind of stick out like a sore thumb now, especially in 4K. But, you know, the in-camera stuff that was done, the physical stuff, still looks, I mean, it looks real. It's still to this day, the special effects in these movies are amazing. But I think it's because they tried to do everything in camera as much as humanly possible, which is just, again, hats off to Robert Zemeckis and all the guys that worked on these films, because to have a movie hold up after, you know, so long, over 30 years, it's amazing. And then we get to the third film, and the third film, honestly, is the best looking one out of all of them. And maybe because it's more recent, but the colors in that film really jump out more now than they ever have before. There really is not as much grain in the picture as the first two films. Second film, again, the grain's a little bit lighter than the first one. Again, maybe just because they had better film stock. As time goes on, film improves. But again, the third film is really stunning to look at. And I was very, very impressed with just how beautiful this western landscape looks. The dirt in the streets, the hills, all the things. I mean, clothing, everything is just so highly detailed. The picture structure of the film just looks amazing now. Colors are very, very much more vibrant than they were before. Again, I watched all three of these films in Dolby Vision, and every film I was blown away. But the third film really knocked it out of the park. And again, maybe it's just the setting, it just kind of lends more tones because of all the earth tones and stuff like that. But that third film really is a standout in this set, and I absolutely loved it. Again, the third film is actually probably my second favorite of the series, first one being my absolute favorite. The second film's great, it's a lot of fun, but it really is just a gateway to the third film so they can wrap it up. But that movie is great, and I have to say the third one is really a showpiece for your home theater. If you really want to show off rich, vibrant earth tones, that third one is just amazing. I saw colors come out of this movie that I had never seen before, and I have to say, you know, all the greens, the browns, the reds, the magenta tone dress that Mary Steenburgen wears in a couple scenes really is incredible. It is absolutely incredible, and I loved every movie in this set. They all looked fantastic. Now, for the sound in this set, all three of these movies all have Dolby Atmos. All new Dolby Atmos tracks. And I have to say, the Dolby Atmos tracks in these are, yet again, phenomenal. The first film, you know, dialogue is crystal clear. I mean, really all of them, the dialogue is fantastically balanced. Sound effects are really used well in the latter films. The first film, there is not a whole lot in terms of overheads. There are some effects in the storm at the end of the film where they kind of place some thunder and stuff in the overheads. But other than that, there's really not much in terms of really overhead usage in the first film. The second film's a whole other ballgame. The second film, since the DeLorean can fly in that movie, there's a lot of stuff going on overhead, and the future sequence really does sound amazing now. I mean, it sounded great before. The old tracks, the old 5.1 and DTS tracks from before were great, but the Dolby Atmos one really hits it out of the park for the second film. The music in all three of them have never sounded better. Alan Silvestri's legendary score is just mind-blowingly fantastic in all of these films. The music in all three of these films sound great. Overall, I have no issues with the Dolby Atmos tracks in any of them. It's hands down the best these movies have ever sounded, hands down the best these movies have ever looked. And again, even though, you know, the latter films actually do improve in picture quality, that can sometimes be expected when you go from an older film to a newer film to an even newer film. Again, they all just jumped out at you, and they're all great showpieces for your home theater. I loved every one of these movies in this set, and this set is highly recommended from me. The special features are also fantastic, and the one thing that I really love about this set, and I'm so glad Universal is doing this, they've done this on a bunch of their prior 4K releases, but the special features that are on the Blu-ray are on the 4K disc. So you don't have to swap, you know, special features discs and stuff back and forth. They're all on the 4K, and I'm really glad they did that. The only, you know, exception being the bonus disc at the end, which has its own Blu-ray, which has some really great stuff. I love the one about the Hollywood Museum, looking at all the props of the films and different things like that. That is a great special feature, especially for someone who really is into like collecting prop memorabilia and stuff like that. It really is cool to check that out. So definitely highest recommendation from me. If you can get this on sale, grab it. If you have to pay full price, it's still worth it. These are 3 of the best films that, you know, again, that I've always loved, and again, highly, highly recommended from me. So if you're a fan of this series, this is a must. This is an absolute must. It was for me. So thank you very much again for coming back to Cavanaugh's Corner. As always, want to say thank you for coming back to the channel and checking out my reviews. If you really want to help support the channel, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel for more content so I can keep bringing you reviews like this. Until next time, please stay safe and take it easy.